Hi everyone, welcome to the Navigant Credit Union Broadcast Center. We're here for GoLocal Live. I hope everyone's keeping cool out there. It is a sweltering day here in downtown Providence, but it's nice and cool here in the studio. And I'm your host, Rachel Nunes. Our first guest today is Grant Cohen. He's one of the co-founders of the recently launched app, WeKey. Thanks so much for joining us.
Rachel, thanks for having us. Really appreciate it. It's great to be here.
So WeKey just launched just a few days ago, so congratulations.
Thank you so much.
And can you just start with an overview of what is the app?
Absolutely. So before we get into the app, I just want to thank the great city of Providence, Rhode Island. As a state, we're obviously very excited to be doing business here as a Providence-based startup. The Mass Challenge Rhode Island program has been wonderful for us, and the Social Enterprise Greenhouse as well has been outstanding. WeKey is a peer-to-peer travel community. We are solely focused on home and apartment exchanging, but for the weekend. And we're launching in New England because of the amazing multi-dimensional travel mecca that New England really is. And you have 6 states, you have access to New York, you have access to Canada to the north. This is a perfect place for us to begin our business. We are a membership by application only, and we verify identities and residences purely to uphold and maintain trust, safety, and of course community.
So let's back up a little bit.
Sure.
Apartment and home exchange. What exactly does that mean?
Sure. So the way our model works is that the guest and the host are the same person. So the person has to be comfortable staying in someone else's place while allowing someone to stay in theirs. And it's a very specific buyer persona, but we feel that because of the popularity of the sharing economy and the growth of weekend travel, that this is the perfect time to be entering this market, and this is the perfect place to be launching.
It's a great time too, especially fall in New England is
beautiful
it's
travel
coming
season.
Up. Yep, we've got leaf peeping coming up. Everyone's favorite activity.
Leaf peeping? What is that?
Oh, it's when you come and look at all the fun fall foliage here in Rhode Island and all across New England.
We gotta use that term a little bit. I love it.
So it's of course a great time to be launching your program. So is it always on the same date? Like let's say you and I were both members of WeKey,
sure.
And so let's say this coming weekend for Labor Day,
Yep.
would the exchange just be for us on that day, or can
Sure.
you be a little flexible with the date?
Sure. So the way our application works is you pick a weekend and you pick a location, and you're going to get a portfolio of homes, a portfolio of getaways in your back pocket. And when you swipe right, and that's one of our taglines is swiping right on the weekend, the app functions very similarly to Tinder, although we are not a dating service in any way, shape, or form. But the swiping feature is obviously very popular and prominent today across a wide range of apps, and we're just embedding that into our technology. So you pick a weekend, you pick a location that you want to go, you're going to receive the deck of homes on which you can choose. And from there, you get to pick, swipe right, swipe left. When you swipe onto a specific home that you like, you're going to be able to talk with them, talk with that person. The amazing part about what we're doing is that even if you don't match with the person, you're still going to be able to see who's swiped on you in your WeKey profile. That's kind of the personal profile section of our mobile application. So at any point, you're going to see lots of different opportunities to get away. There's 2 different types of home exchanges that I do want to talk about. The first
Sure.
is a classic simultaneous exchange. That's a one-to-one. So I go to you, you go to me. A perfect example would be I live here in Providence. I want to get out to Portland, Maine. I match with someone in Portland. They match with me. We discuss the parameters of the exchange. I have a beautiful 3-bed, 2-bath. You have a 3-bed, 2-bath as well. Talk about it. Maybe I do a video tour around. From there, we discuss where do I put my key, some of the smaller details associated with the exchanging. But the simultaneous classic exchange happens on the same weekend. It's the exact same date.
Okay.
So that's kind of one way that we can do this. The other example is a non-simultaneous exchange, where I'm away for a weekend because I'm at a hockey game in another state, or at a friend's wedding, something like that. And they come to me, my place is available, and because I'm letting them stay in my place, I now have a pass to stay in their place at a later point.
That's great. And so the big question here is, what makes you guys different? It
Sure.
seems like there's always a different opportunity to
Yeah.
share things today. And in fact, later in our show, we're going to be talking to a Boston-based startup that shares cars.
Amazing.
And the big thing that comes up with yours is Airbnb, because
Yeah.
we have the, I rent out my house, I rent out my rental property, I rent out a spare bedroom. What makes you guys different from Airbnb?
Sure. So to kind of answer that question, I'd obviously like to talk about, or at least briefly state that Airbnb and other vacation rental platforms have provided an absolutely amazing platform for us to be able to bring this to light today. And obviously very progressive. What they were doing years ago was bold and revolutionary. And we're just
Absolutely.
trying to be bold and revolutionary in a different way. The current vacation rental platform and home exchange platforms currently center on an annual subscription. And that's where we're competitive. And we are free to start, just so everyone knows we are free. But Airbnb and other vacation rental platforms are pay per night. We are annual subscription pay per year. So the value is pretty significant. We're trying to make vacation free in a lot of ways. So the first night of your first home exchange will more or less pay for the entire service. And every other weekend that you get away is more or less free. So it is unlimited opportunity to get away. It is unlimited adventure. That's one of our key taglines, unlimited adventure. So we are different from Airbnb in a lot of different ways, but we certainly appreciate everything that they've done for the industry.
So as a subscription model, there's no limit to how many times you can exchange or how many guests you can accept. So really, it's on you to use it as much as you'd like. And
That's exactly right. So like I said, unlimited adventure. So as many times as you can find a place to get away to, and as many times that you can find someone who's willing to come stay with you, that's the value of what we're doing. That's the opportunity that we're creating. Weekend travel, and this is an interesting note for all of you, is the fastest growing segment in the travel industry right now. I like to look at the concept of the honeymoon and compare it to what's called the many-moon. And young people, millennials these days, are not opting to go on a 2 or 3 week honeymoon and allocating all of this time and money for one specific vacation.
Mm-hmm.
They want more. They want what's called the many-moon, or many moons, where they're taking that budget and they're allocating it across the year. They want frequency. They want more vacationing. That's the value that we're providing. We're not saying that going on a trip to another country is not a great thing, or going to California and hopping on a plane is not a great thing, but that's a different type of travel experience. There's so much that can be gained from enjoying your backyard, enjoying places that are within driving distance from your own home. 3 to 5 hours is kind of our target. So because of the growth of kind of weekend travel and the growth of the sharing economy, this is why we feel this, again, is a perfect time to get this started.
And that definitely does remove one of those big barriers of, most people have the weekends off.
Yep.
And if you're just going, say, from here to New Hampshire, it's accessible. But
Yep.
one of the big questions is, well, how am I going to be able to pay for it? Hotels are expensive,
Sure.
rentals are expensive. So you guys are kind of removing that barrier.
That's exactly right. So when we looked at why is this relevant now? Why is this important? We obviously do consider a few things. That traveling is expensive. Right? As I mentioned and alluded to earlier, there is so much to be gained from weekend travel. The ability to not take time off away from work, to not have to go to an airport, to experience places in a different way that are in your backyard, that are within driving distance, and then the frequency element, as I discussed. And when we looked at creating this, when we looked at bringing WeKey to life, we looked at trying to answer all of those. And that's really our answer, is how do we try to get away on the weekends more for less?
So talking a little bit about how it works with if you want to join. So you submit your application.
Yep.
And what kind of stuff do you provide when you apply?
Sure. So the application process takes 5 minutes. It's just the same amount of time you'd wait in Starbucks here in Providence. And if you're in New York, you're looking at 2 hours at least. So it's a quick application process. We are the only home exchange and vacation rental platform on the planet to do 4 levels of security. And we do this because we are a community, that it's important that we uphold that. So we do text message verification, social media login, address verification, which is essentially having the individual take a picture of his or her internet bill or utility bill and having that name correspond to the address, and then identity verification, so uploading a picture of your license or passport, preferably a license. I think that's a little more available for people. But it's a pretty quick process. From there, you upload 5 pictures. You're just going to add a couple of details about your home, how many people in your home, are you renting, is it a condo, do you own it, and then you submit. We have a 72-hour waiting period in which we review all applications. We like to do that because we like to balance the supply and the demand of a given market. And then from there, hopefully the individual is accepted and they can immediately start on trying to find that match.
Great. And
Yeah.
so how do you, also talking about the levels of security, it's really good to identify people, make sure
Sure.
it is who they're saying they are, because rental scams seem to be
course.
a really big thing right now.
Yeah.
Of people listing people's houses on eBay and other sites, on Craigslist,
Yep.
and other sites like that when they're not real or they don't own them
Yeah.
or stuff like that. So that's really great. But on the other hand, how do you guys ensure the security of information? Do you have a secure way of storing that information?
We do, yeah. So everything on WeKey is extremely protected. When we developed this app, we obviously took all levels of safety and security, considering that data breaches and privacy are so rampant right now. So that was kind of one of the forefronts of our development, and that's something that we really pushed in our development team. And as we do introduce pricing and a payment model, we will be going with a very preferred vendor that has the same level of security that banks do. So everything on WeKey is very much protected, providing transparency and trust and safety. So that's our goal.
Fantastic. And so what cities are included?
So we're starting obviously here in Providence,
Of course.
the great city of Providence. In Boston, obviously also an amazing city as well. Portland, Maine, which was just named one of the top food cities in the United States. Portsmouth. We do have opportunities up in Montreal, really all throughout New England. I think we obviously have cities in mind that we're going to be starting with, but we're really open on taking applications from anyone, anywhere in this kind of given region. And we have the ability to add cities as we go. So if you're outside of Providence for whatever reason, in Warwick or Cranston or Lincoln, you're more than welcome to apply. If you're outside of Boston and Needham, obviously welcome to apply as well. So it's pretty all-encompassing when it comes to New England.
Great. And so you just launched. What's next? What's the next big hurdle?
So obviously a lot of emotions. We have a really strong team. It's myself and my co-founder, Zach Giberson, who also serves as our chief marketing officer and product lead. He's done an amazing job. We have a great team, lots of Brown interns, a great kind of technical team as well, and a good group of advisors. So I think number one, when you're doing a startup, when you're engaged in this process, you have to find ways to remind yourself of where you started and where you are now. So I think it's certainly amazing kind of where we started, where this idea came from, and kind of where we're at currently. A lot of work obviously needs to be done. We're trying to build this ecosystem. We're trying to get this off the ground in the best, most safe and secure way possible. I think in the months to follow, we're going to be adding quite a few different things, opportunities for food and beverage discounts. So when you go away on a weekend, you're going to have the opportunity to visit one of our partner restaurants or breweries to get 5 or 10% off a flight or pizza, something like that. Going to be introducing a payment platform to kind of make our program a little bit more legitimate, and adding some features there. We would like to add something with insurance, so being able to cover members in a specific way up to a certain dollar amount during the home exchanges. So lots of different things, but just trying to figure out the best way to go to market.
Fantastic. Well, unfortunately, that's all the time we have. I'm sure you could go
15
on
minutes.
for hours about WeKey's launch, but WeKey's now
Absolutely.
available on the App Store?
Available in the App Store, so
Great.
we are not on Android. We are not, unfortunately, on the web, so just on the App Store.
Stay tuned. I'm sure it's coming soon. And thanks so much for joining us, Grant Cohen, co-founder of WeKey, changing the game when it comes to weekend
That's
rentals.
what we're doing. We're having fun. Really
Great.
appreciate it. Thanks, guys.
Thanks so much for
Thanks,
coming
Rachel.
in.
Yeah.
And we'll be right back with our next guest here on GoLocal Live.